Hey guys, it's the Addi Queen, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to make a chunky knit / crochet cowl. We will actually be knitting a very thin strand on our machine, and then we will crochet that strand into our cowl. So I'm going to cast on 4 pegs, and we are going to plain knit. Gotta make sure we get that cast on right. And I made sure to do this on my black needles, that way it would trigger my row counter. And we're just going to go back and forth a lot of times. I don't really have an exact row count because I know everybody prefers a bit of a different length with their cowls, and it depends on your tension when you're crocheting. So I'm just going to knit a bunch of rows, and I will come back to you when I start to do some crochet. So, as you can see here, I've got quite a bit connected to my Addi. My counter is reading 290 rows, so now I'm going to start my crochet. I'm going to use my cast on tail to make a slip knot. Well, maybe. Here we go. Now we're going to crochet with our fingers like this. So that's 1 stitch. We're going to do 18 stitches. 2, 3, which I may need to stop and knit more. Make sure you try to keep the same tension. And I have been pulling and stretching this out. So 16 stitches. 17, 18. I'm going to pull this, stretch out, nice. And you really just want to kind of adjust how many stitches you do for your tension, because you want to make sure this will fit all the way around your neck. Obviously, this does not look like it's going to fit around the neck. So I think this is because I'm using a thinner yarn this time. I am going to knit some more. See, I've come to the end of my rope, and I'll come back. Alright, so I've been knitting for a while. My counter says 730 rows. And I went ahead and did my stitches to my desired length. I actually cut this piece of yarn and put it around my neck to make sure it was a measurement I liked. And I chained this to be the same length. So now we're going to start on our second row. We're going to lay this flat and take our yarn that's attached to the machine, and we're going to go through the stitch and pull it through to make a loop. Okay, we're going to do this for every stitch. Stitch, pull through to make a loop. And we're going to leave our loops. Stitch, pull through, make a loop. So, as you can see here, I have my 3 loops. Go through our stitch, almost like a crochet hook. You pull it up and through. Go into the stitch, up and through. You want to make your loops around the same size. Go in the stitch, up and through. So it looks like this. We're going to do this on our whole chain. So as you can see here, I have ran out of rope again. So I'm going to have to do some more knitting. But this is what my strand looks like so far. So I've knitted some more. Now I'm going to finish putting the loops on my tube. Now this last stitch will be kind of hard to get into since it was my cast on stitch. Now I have a loop for every tube. I have a loop for every stitch. So now we're going to work our way back. We're going to take our yarn and pull it through the loop we just finished. It helps if you flip it over, I have found. So again, you stick your finger in, pull your yarn through, and we're just making another row of loops. So you can either flip it over or do it this way. Just make sure your stitches are facing the same way. It's just like knitting, but you don't have the needles. It's just here instead of on a needle. If that makes any sense. It's not a very good analogy. And pull it through. So as you can see, this has created a stitch where my first row now has a second row by it. You gotta be careful when you're pulling a stitch through to not pull this loop out, like of the loop previous to it. And make sure we go through every loop. And we're gonna continue till we finish this row. And then at the end of this row, you'll do the same thing. From here on out, it's basically the same repetitive motion. I find it helps if you kind of pull up like that. And guess what? I have to knit some more. This is kind of a more time-consuming project just because you have to knit your cord that you are making this with. But it is worth it. It's such a beautiful project when you're finished. So here I am. I'm a little over halfway done with my second row. And I'm going to have to knit some more and we will continue. I am at 1,024 rows right now. So this definitely has taken me a while, but it's starting to come together. Well, I am at 1,600 rows. So I've got quite a bit of cord here. We're going to finish up this first row. So I'm going to keep pulling through my stitches like I have been before. And uh-oh, we're at the end of the row. What will we ever do? Well, we go again, just pulling through the stitches. Lay this over here. We're going to continue this until we like the height of our cowl. I plan on doing about 6 rows. Now, I'll be honest with you, this has been a super duper time-consuming project. Even though it's only 4 pegs, those 1,600 rows have taken me forever. It is the next day. I worked on it last night and some this morning. But I think this will be worth it. It looks very pretty so far. Like, I like the way this looks. So, hopefully I can finish it here in the next couple days and upload this video for you guys. Now, I am almost through my first skein. I don't really have much left. This is Red Hearts soft essential stripes. And there's the color. I think it looks really cool. I like it. Okay, I think I have enough to finish this next row. Again, we're just pulling through and leaving these loops. Yay, another row. Now I am starting to run kind of short, so I will have to go back to my knitting machine. You can see I tied a knot right there. So here's what it looks like with my 3 complete rows. And I'm going to crank some more and make a time lapse. I plan on having it, well, here's twice as much. I plan on doing 6 rows, so I'm a little bit over halfway there. I'm going to get to cranking, and I'll be back when I finished all of my loop pulling through. This is all I have for you for part 1. In part 2, I will be showing you how to finish your pulling through the loops and how to close off the cowl and then sewing the 2 ends together to make it a circle. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy crafting, everyone!